Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan, Xian Kongzi and the rest were slightly startled after hearing Xian Yi's words. They mused for a moment before nodding. Xian Kongzi said, although old demon whose seniority far surpasses Xiao Yan might be able to compete with this old fellow with his current abilities. Yao Lao nodded and laughed, all right. Let Xiao Yan compete with that old fellow. I'll let that old demon know that not only can I, Yao Chen, defeat him, even the disciple I groomed can defeat him. If that is really the case, it is likely that old demon whose face would turn green. Qian Lei loudly laughed. Xiao Yan was speechless when he heard these four people decide that he should compete after a couple of sentences, but he was also clearly aware that this matter would determine the success of the alliance. Hence, he did not object to the competition. With his current alchemist skill, he would not feel the slightest fear even when dealing with those extremely old demons. How many colors can a pill lightning from a medicinal pill refined by that old demon possess? Xiao Yang mused for a moment and asked. He naturally needed to be aware of his opponent. It has been many years since I have seen that old demon go all out. The last time I saw him refine a pill with all his strength should have been 2 decades ago. At that time, he had successfully attracted an 8-colored pill lightning. He will probably be able to attract a 9-colored pill lightning now. Xian Kongzi thought for a moment before speaking. 9-colored pill lightning, huh? This person was indeed worthy of being someone who had competed with Yao Lao to be the champion of the pill gathering. Such alchemy skill could be considered top-notch across the Central Plains. That old fellow has progressed very quickly during these years. In order to beat him, Xiao Yang must refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill. Yao Lao frowned. A Tier 9 medicinal pill, even if it was the lowest grade, a Tier 9 treasure pill was somewhat troublesome for Yao Lao to refine. Xiao Yang might be powerful, but when it came to pill refinement, one relied on accumulated experience. That old demon had been totally immersed in pill refinement for many years. His experience was many times that of Xiao Yang. I? Xian Kongzi and the 2 others nodded. Their eyes swung to Xiao Yang as Xian Kongzi asked, "Are you confident?" A Tier 9 medicinal pill, Xiao Yang gently rubbed his finger and softly replied, "I can give it a try." Although Xiao Yang had never refined a Tier 9 medicinal pill, his current strength had soared, and his spiritual strength had improved by leaps and bounds during his 2-year retreat. He had already stepped into the heavenly state from the soul state. He was not any weaker than Yao Lao and the others from the older generation. Xian Kongzi's group sighed in relief after hearing Xiao Yang's words. They immediately said, "Let's do this. We will find a way to allow Xiao Yang to join the competition. It will not be much trouble with his pill-gathering champion qualification." I? Yao Lao and Xiao Yang nodded. Ha ha, the 2 of you should stay here for these next 3 days. The environment of this place is extremely suitable for alchemists. Xian Kongzi stood up. He laughed before leaving with Xian Yi and Qian Lei. They still needed to call in some favors to get Xiao Yang to join the elder selection. After all, it would be a little troublesome to suddenly include another person. Xiao Yang and Yao Lao temporarily resided in the Pill Tower Mountain during the subsequent 3 days. Many older generation alchemists arrived during these 3 days. Of course, they had naturally come because of Yao Lao. Most of the old people here were acquainted with Yao Lao. They would naturally want to come and visit after having not met for many years. Yao Lao had allowed Xiao Yang to get acquainted with these older generation alchemists who had once been extremely renowned on the Central Plains. These old fellows had made many friends across the Central Plains in the past. One would naturally gain many benefits just by being acquainted with them. Xiao Yang was also clearly aware of Yao Lao's intentions. Hence, he appeared relatively courteous and respectful when meeting these people from the older generation, satisfying those old fellows. After they learned that Xiao Yang's alchemist skills were comparable to Yao Lao, they clearly appeared much warmer to him. No matter where one was, those who possessed strength would have an easy time gaining the acceptance of others. 3 days passed by in a flash because of this relatively lively atmosphere. When the morning light on the 4th day landed on the Pill Tower, this mountain had shed its quietness and became much livelier. There was usually little noise emitted in this small Pill Tower. Everyone just discussed and challenged each other's alchemist skills, or they would manage their own medicinal garden. Their days were ordinary and extremely suitable for those old fellows who were tired of the conflict in the continent. The top of the Pill Tower mountain formed an open ground. Clouds covered the surroundings of this open ground. The thick layer of clouds was like cotton, causing one to feel the impulse of wanting to walk on them. This open ground, which rarely had any visitors, was filled with quite a number of people. Most of them had white hair and appeared extremely old. Any person in this place would be greatly sought after by many factions in the Central Plains. If a sect possessed an alchemist of this level, the benefits it would receive would be incomparable. While the number of scattered people on the open ground gradually increased, Yao Lao and Xiao Yan were led over by Xian Kongzi and the rest. Many people quickly gathered after Yao Lao appeared. They laughed as they greeted him. From this, one could tell that Yao Lao was quite popular within this small Pill Tower. Yao Chen, old thing, indeed still alive. Yao Lao was smiling as he greeted his old friends when a somewhat unfriendly voice was suddenly emitted. Immediately, the crowd parted and formed a path. A small and skinny grey-robed elder slowly walked over. "Ha ha, old demon who? Even you are still alive. How can I leave before you?" Yao Lao smiled as he looked at the grey-robed old man and asked a rhetorical question. "This is old demon who, huh?" Xiao Yan's heart shook after hearing Yao Lao's form of address. His eyes landed on that grey-robed old man. The old man's size was somewhat similar to his surname, who equals monkey. His elderly face appeared a little old-fashioned and seemed like the face of the living dead. "When you left the small Pill Tower on your own back then, I thought that you would not have the backbone to return ever again." The grey-robed old man spoke in a faint voice. There was some ridicule in his voice. He had been at odds with Yao Lao and had been trying his best to surpass Yao Lao even now, but this desire had never been fulfilled. It had become a thorn in his flesh. Yao Lao smiled but did not argue. He acted like a nice old person. "I heard that you are planning on taking part in the elder selection. It's just as well. After having not met for many years, it is time for me to see whether or not your alchemist skill has improved." The grey-robed old man frowned and continued after seeing Yao Lao ignore him. Yao Lao involuntarily smiled after hearing his words. He shook his head and said, "I am not the one participating this time around. If you really insist on competing with me, you should defeat my disciple first. He has coincidentally joined the competition." "Your disciple?" That grey-robed old man turned to Xiao Yan by the side after hearing these words. His expression sank after seeing Xiao Yan's age. He coldly laughed. "This little baby boasts the qualification to participate? Yao Chen, even if you wished to use the back door, you should not do it like this, right? This is the small Pill Tower, not the Central Plains." Some of the elders, who were unaware of the situation, also used strange eyes to look at Xiao Yan. Clearly, they did not understand why he possessed the qualification to participate. Old demon who, Xiao Yan is this pill gathering's champion. Why would he not be qualified? Xian Kongzi glanced at old demon who as he inquired. Pill gathering champion? The expression of old demon who altered after hearing this title. Back then, he had lost the champion spot of the pill gathering competition to Yao Chen by just a little. This matter had been a thorn in his heart. Unexpectedly, the disciple that Yao Chen had taught had also achieved this title. Looks like the quality of the pill gathering was really lacking. Old demon who bitterly remarked. You are wrong. Xiao Yang refined a 5-colored pill lightning during this pill gathering in order to be victorious. The competition was even more intense than the competition in your time. Xian Yi replied in a faint voice. 5-colored pill lightning? Those surrounding elders revealed surprised faces. At this moment, it might not be difficult for them to refine a medicinal pill of this level, but back when they had participated in the pill gathering, it was already relatively good to be able to refine a medicinal pill that could attract a pill lightning. A 5-colored pill lightning had been relatively distant to them back then. Old Demon, whose face became even more solemn after hearing this retort. Many soft needles had pricked him until he was quite furious. He felt a little embarrassed as he waved his sleeve and coldly snorted, 5-colored pill lightning? It is nothing here. Since you are not going to participate, allow me to take this elder position. However, since this little fellow is your disciple, this elderly self shall help you teach him. Ha ha, this disciple of mine really doesn't know his limits. Since Old Demon who intends to teach him, I shall help him. Thank you first. Yao Lao smiled as he replied. Yao Chen, I know what you are here for. Once I obtain that elder position, I will definitely get the both of you to return empty-handed. Old Demon who could hear the mockery in Yao Lao's words. With a cold snort, he waved his sleeve, turned around, and furiously left. Yao Lao smiled as studied Old Demon whose distant back. He softly said, looks like we need to shatter the beautiful dream of this old demon to be an elder. What do you say? Xiao Yan grinned and gently nodded. There is no need to worry, teacher. Light from the bright, warm sun tore through the layers of clouds and landed on the top of the mountain. An ancient and melodious gong slowly reverberated through this open ground. The top of the mountain became distorted after this gong began to vibrate. 7 elderly figures appeared on a stone stage within the open ground without any forewarning. Many people bowed and greeted these 7 elders after seeing them. They respectfully said, greetings to all 7 elders. The main elder council could be considered the highest decision body in the small pearl tower. These elders naturally possessed an extremely high status. Moreover, all of them had been selected from the small pearl tower and were highly regarded individuals. Hence, many people in the small pearl tower respected them. Xiao Yan was mixed in with the crowd. His eyes swept over the 7 elders. After slowly sweeping his gaze over them, he finally paused on 4 individuals. The auras of these 4 individuals appeared exceptionally powerful among those 7 elders, especially the linen-clothed expressionless old man standing at the center. He caused Xiao Yang to throw a sideways glance. 2 middle-level Bansheng, 1 high-level Bansheng, and 1 who has reached the initial level of the 2nd star of the Doshen class. Is this the true strength of the Pill Tower? No wonder it is comparable to the Hall of Souls. Xiao Yang's eyes paused on that linen-clothed old man and quietly sighed in his heart. The foundations of these factions, which had existed for a long time within the Central Plains, was indeed relatively frightening. If one's strength did not reach a certain level, it would be impossible for one to be aware of these extremely secretive existences. That linen-clothed elder is the first elder of the small Pill Tower. With the exception of the ancestor, he is the most senior person in the small Pill Tower. Even I will have to greet him as someone from the younger generation. Yao Lao softly explained as he stood beside Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang was quietly speechless after hearing this. Even Yao Lao would have to greet him as someone from the younger generation. The seniority of this first elder was really frightening. The linen-clothed man seemed to have detected Xiao Yang observing him. A pair of eyes as deep as starry space were thrown towards Xiao Yang. A fluctuation immediately flashed across those eyes. Clearly, he had discovered Xiao Yang's true abilities. What a powerful spiritual pressure! Xiao Yang's brow slightly twitched after the first elder glanced over. He could sense an invisible pressure form in the surrounding space. This kind of pressure could not be detected by anyone else. Only the parties involved could sense it. Fortunately, Xiao Yang was very different from his old self. The spiritual pressure of this first elder might pressure him a little, but it could not harm him. His expression did not shift because of the exchange. The chin of the first elder moved slightly in an undetectable manner after noticing Xiao Yang's unchanging expression. His eyes finally slid away. His old but ordinary voice resounded in the ears of everyone present. Today is a rare occasion in our small Pill Tower, the elder selection. It is not the first time everyone has experienced it. I shall not talk more about the rules involved. You can take any medicinal ingredient from the mountain. Whoever refines the highest tier medicinal pill will naturally be the victor. Everyone, if there are no more inquiries, can those who have obtained the qualification to join the selection please step forward. Although this first elder was extremely old, he did things relatively quickly. Without any unnecessary words, he pointed at the open ground in front of him and gave an order in a faint voice. Understood. Some respectful replies came from around the open ground after hearing the first elder's words. Many figures immediately stepped forward and found their own area to stand within the open ground. I will also head out. Xiao Yan smiled after seeing these people step forward. Do your best. Do not disgrace your teacher's name. Xian Yi grinned and replied. Xiao Yang nodded. After which, he squeezed out from the crowd and found an empty space amidst the many surprised gazes from around him. The appearance of Xiao Yang attracted many pairs of eyes. Most of the old people here lived in seclusion. Hence, they did not know why this young man had suddenly joined the selection. This junior is Xiao Yang. He is Yao Chen's disciple and was the champion of the most recent pill gathering. According to the rules, he possesses the qualification to join the elder selection. The first elder swept his eyes around as he explained in a faint voice. So that is why. It is unexpected that the old fellow Yao Chen accepted another disciple. However, this elder selection is not an ordinary game. Can it be that Yao Chen has purposefully asked this young fellow to join in order to gain some experience? Some private conversation started after the first elder's word sounded. Although the weight of the pill-gathering champion title was quite heavy, it appeared a little insufficient if one wished to rely on this title to compete with the other seniors for the position of an elder. Many people concluded that Yao Chen intended to have Xiao Yang gain some experience. Xiao Yan was naturally unconcerned with the thoughts of these people. He shut his eyes and recuperated. After many elderly figures appeared within the spacious open ground, the remaining people slowly withdrew to the edges of the square. Finally, the first elder once again slowly opened his mouth. If everyone is prepared, please begin. The atmosphere within the open ground immediately became tense after hearing the first elder's words. Everyone's expressions gradually became grave. Clang! A clear metallic sound suddenly appeared in this tense atmosphere. Soon after, another noise appeared. Many medicinal cauldrons with extraordinary auras were taken out of storage rings. After which, they heavily landed on the ground. Start the fire! Many cries soon sounded after the cauldrons landed on the ground. Soon after, many different flames that were all quite powerful rose in the medicinal cauldrons. In an instant, the temperature of the entire square rapidly rose. Xiao Yang's expression slowly became grave as he looked at the many medicinal cauldrons around him, but he did not take out a medicinal cauldron. Instead, he extended his right hand and suddenly clenched it. A purple-brown flame that contained hints of a dense white color soon rose from his hand. Bang! This cluster of flames had just appeared when it suddenly swelled. Within a short instant, it began burning above Xiao Yang's head like a cloud of fire. Subsequently, the fire cloud gathered and swiftly formed a purple-brown medicinal cauldron in front of many stunned eyes. The cauldron was completely made out of fire. This is heavenly flame. This young fellow really boasts a powerful control over his flame. However, isn't he afraid of losing control during the refinement after using a heavenly flame to form a cauldron? Xiao Yang's trick immediately attracted many surprised gazes. Many low and deep voices soon conversed. The flame cauldron slowly floated in front of Xiao Yang. Its extremely solid appearance caused many alchemist gurus to reveal grave expressions. Just what kind of a control over a flame and spiritual strength was required in order to control the heavenly flame at this pinnacle level? Old Demon who was a short distance away, was also attracted by the commotion. He knit his brow slightly. A cold laugh immediately sounded. A member of the younger generation was ultimately a member of the younger generation. They always did useless things. Xiao Yang gently flicked his finger as he studied the flame cauldron he had formed. A flame rose within the medicinal cauldron. It emitted a puff and transformed into a fire dragon that wandered around the medicinal cauldron. Xiao Yan did not continue the pill refinement process after forming this medicinal cauldron. Instead, he slowly shut his eyes. Many people were stunned when they saw him shut his eyes, but no one dared to underestimate this extremely young person after the level of skill he had just displayed. I wonder what kind of medicinal pill Xiao Yang is planning to refine this time around. Xian Kongzi looked at Xiao Yang from among the crowd and mused to himself. Xiao Yang has basically learned all that I know. I have never attempted to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill in the past. Hence, I can only give him 2 types of medicinal formula, Yao Lao softly spoke. The importance of medicinal formulae was obvious after reaching such a level. If one did not possess the medicinal formula of a Tier 9 medicinal pill, it would be impossible to refine a medicinal pill of that level. A Tier 9 medicinal formula was not inferior to a Qian class Qi method or Do skill. Even though Yao Lao had collected formulae for many years, he had only managed to obtain 2 of them. Moreover, they were the lowest grade of a Tier 9 pill, a treasure pill. After Yao Lao had spoken, Xiao Yang suddenly opened both of his eyes. He spread his fingers and an emerald-colored bead appeared between them. Bodhisattva seed? He wishes to refine a bodhisattva pill. Yao Lao's experienced group was aware of Xiao Yang's goal after seeing that emerald bead appear. The highest grade of a bodhisattva pill can at most attract a 9-colored pill lightning. It is a little difficult if he wishes to beat old demon Hu. Xian Yi knit her brows after figuring out what he was going to attempt. It would be a little difficult to obtain victory by simply relying on the bodhisattva seed. Xian Kongzi and Qian Leizi frowned. They had already learned that Xiao Yang was an elite Dosheng from Yao Lao. Although Xiao Yang did not mention his spiritual state, it was obvious that he had reached the heavenly realm. Therefore, he already possessed the qualification to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill. They could not understand why Xiao Yang had chosen to refine the bodhisattva pill. He should have his own plans. Yao Lao hesitated for a moment. Based on his trust in Xiao Yang, he did not think that Xiao Yang would underestimate his opponent. Xiao Yang's eyes drifted to Yao Lao's group after he took out the bodhisattva seed. He faintly smiled after seeing their frowns. People may think that his pill refinement experience was inferior to an elder like old demon Hu. Normally speaking, his experiences would be inferior to these old demons, who had trained for hundreds of years. However, Xiao Yang had undergone 100 reincarnations while meditating under the bodhisattva tree, which brought him numerous benefits. One of those benefits was experience in pill refinement. Xiao Yang swung his hand through the empty space in front of him after taking out the bodhisattva seed, and many medicinal ingredients continuously flew out of his storage ring. In the blink of an eye, they piled together in the air above his head. At a glance, there were at least 1,000 of them. Such a number of medicinal ingredients caused the surrounding alchemists to feel speechless. Xiao Yang ignored these people's surprise. His hand gently pressed against the air. A large number of medicinal ingredients was separated from the pile above before they were swiftly thrown into the medicinal cauldron. They were devoured by the fire dragon within the cauldron. The mound of medicinal ingredients in the sky formed a line under Xiao Yang's control as they continuously poured into the medicinal cauldron. Within a short couple of minutes, a frightening energy wave spread from the medicinal cauldron. This energy wave caused the surrounding space to slowly fluctuate. This large number of medicinal ingredients has surpassed the amount needed to work with the bodhisattva seed. Could it be that he is not refining a bodhisattva pill? But why is the majority of the medicinal ingredients similar to the ingredients required to refine a bodhisattva pill? Xian Kongzi frowned and muttered. Yao Lao and the other 2 could only slowly shake their heads when they heard this question. They were also unaware of what Xiao Yang was planning to do. Now, we can only wait until the end, the few of them sighed. They suppressed their doubt in their hearts and began to pay full attention to the competition. The commotion that Xiao Yang's pill refinement had stirred might have been great, but not everyone's eyes were fixated on him. This was the small pill tower. It had gathered all of the extremely well-known alchemist gurus in the Central Plains. Their standards were high since the alchemists besides Xiao Yang were all extraordinary individuals. The sound of wind and lightning accompanied their refinement as a powerful aura formed around them all. If this competition were to be held in the Central Plains, many alchemists would become intoxicated by it. Other than Xiao Yan, the person who caught the most attention among the many alchemists was Old Demon Hu. Regardless of how unlikable he was, no one doubted his ability to refine pills. Being able to nearly snatch Yao Lao's pill-gathering champion position was sufficient to describe his talent in pill refinement. Moreover, the current Old Demon Hu was no longer the young man of the past. After so many years of training, his medicinal refinement ability had undoubtedly soared. Hardly anyone even in this small pill tower could surpass him. This Old Demon Hu had the highest chance of winning in this elder selection. At this moment, Old Demon Hu was fully focused on his medicinal cauldron. A couple of medicinal ingredient rings continued to rotate around him. Occasionally, some medicinal ingredients with a rich energy would be thrown into the cauldron, after which, they would quickly be refined before they solidified. The many steps were performed with great familiarity. His motions revealed a grandmaster demeanor. The eyes of the 7 elders on the stone stage slowly swept over the square and finally nodded. Looks like Old Demon Hu is very likely win this time. An elder looked at Old Demon Hu's demeanor and involuntarily laughed. The few other elders around nodded after hearing his words. The medicinal refinement skills of Old Demon Hu were not inferior to these elders. The linen-cloaked first elder did not speak with them. Both of his hands were withdrawn into his sleeves as his calm eyes swung to where Xiao Yan was located. There were extremely few people in recent years whom he was unable to see through. This young man called Xiao Yan had given him this feeling for some unknown reason. This feeling gave him a sense of foreboding. This selection would likely have a dark horse appearing. Pill refinement, especially the refinement of high-tier medicinal pills, usually required a long period of time. It was extremely common for alchemists of Xiao Yan's level to take 10 days to half a month to refine a pill. The surrounding alchemists were well aware of this, so they did not display any impatience. Instead, they watched the many cauldrons with great enjoyment. An outsider merely watched for its entertainment value while those within the trade observed the skills involved. Other people might feel impatient while watching a pill refinement competition, but it was extremely interesting for these alchemists. Time flowed by and 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. Some chaotic energy fluctuations spread from quite a number of medicinal cauldrons, causing many medicinal essences to be destroyed. However, no one felt disappointed about failing. Failure was something only too common to those present. No one could guarantee that they would maintain a 100% success rate. Even Xiao Yan was unable to say such a thing because his failure rate during these 5 days had been quite high. He had destroyed 3 cauldrons of medicinal ingredients. There were different reasons for each failure. Fortunately, after experiencing 3 failures, Xiao Yan's refinement had become more smooth and much faster. He had gained a lot of insight from his failures. After these 5 days, everyone began to get on the right track. The number of failures also fell. Another 5 days passed and the medicinal cauldrons of some alchemists began to show the figure of an embryonic pill. The surrounding energy fluctuations also became more intense. Following the flow of time, the atmosphere within the open ground had become more solemn. Everyone could sense that the most interesting part was approaching. Bang! Dark clouds suddenly gathered in the sky and lightning swiftly danced through them like silver snakes. A moment later, layers of colors gradually surfaced on the clouds until 7 colors were visible. The colors slowly stopped on the 7th color. 7-colored pill lightning. If this had occurred in the Central Plains, it would have attracted countless numbers of shocked eyes, but many people present shook their heads when they saw the 7-colored pill lightning. It was obvious that this result would not enable one to obtain victory because they had already seen 5 7-colored pill lightnings over the past 3 days. Another 7-colored pill lightning. Xian Kongzi looked at the pill lightning in the sky and laughed. Old Ling seems a little depressed. Yao Lao smiled. He glanced at the old man who had summoned this 7-colored pill lightning. At this moment, Old Ling was helplessly shaking his head. Clearly, he was not satisfied with this result. Xian Yi smiled as she nodded. Her gaze shifted to where Xiao Yang was located and softly said, it seems that this little fellow is the calmest person present. Yao Lao bitterly smiled and inclined his head after hearing this statement. Some of the faster individuals had managed to summon pill lightning already. Those who were slower had already formed the shape of an embryonic medicinal pill, but there was not even a slight reaction from Xiao Yan's cauldron, but there was no anxiety on his face. No one knew whether he was calm or putting up a brave front. Old demon who should be able to successfully form a pill in 3 days. If I have guessed correctly, he should be refining the flame demon quiet mysterious pill. If he successfully refines the medicinal pill, he will definitely attract a 9-colored pill lightning, Xian Kongzi informed everyone. The medicinal refinement skill of this old fellow has significantly risen over these years. Yao Lao nodded slightly as he replied. If Xiao Yan wishes to beat him, he must refine a tier 9 medicinal pill, but regardless of how one raises the level of the Bodhisattva pill, it is impossible to break through to the 9th tier. Xian Yi commented. Although Xiao Yan had relied on an external object to raise the quality of his medicinal pill during the pill gathering, it would not work this time. After all, the 9th tier and the 8th tier were two completely different concepts. He has his own plans. Yao Lao hesitated for a moment, but a sentence was all that he could reply with. However, he was a little inwardly anxious. The medicinal ingredients that Xiao Yan was using for this refinement did not match either of the tier 9 medicinal pills he had given Xiao Yan. In other words, unless Xiao Yan possessed another tier 9 medicinal formula, he was off doing something random. 3 days passed in an instant. Currently, only a handful of people were still refining within the open ground. Most of the remaining people successfully attracted pill lightning and then withdrew. The eyes of everyone present gathered on 2 individuals. Those 2 individuals were Old Demon Hu and Xiao Yang. Everyone had already identified Demon Hu's medicinal pill. If that medicinal pill was successfully born, it would attract a 9-colored pill lightning. It would be the strongest pill lightning that had appeared in the selection. Xiao Yang, on the other hand, had attracted gazes because of his strange actions. His medicinal cauldron had not revealed signs of an embryonic medicinal pill since the very beginning. There was only a fire dragon that danced inside the cauldron, but they were unable to sense any medicinal pill fluctuations from this fire dragon. Bang! A low loud sound was suddenly emitted from the sky while everyone was feeling puzzled. An extremely powerful energy fluctuation suddenly spread. Immediately, clouds began to gather in the sky with lightning-like speed. Old Demon Hu is about to successfully refine his medicinal pill. Someone exclaimed after seeing these clouds form. Old Demon Hu stood up in front of many pairs of eyes. His dead man-like face revealed an ugly smile. He laughingly glanced in Xiao Yan's direction. Both of his hands were placed behind him as he looked at the thunderclouds in the sky. The thunderclouds churned a couple of times before revealing 9 colors. It is indeed a 9-colored pill lightning. Everyone involuntarily exclaimed after seeing the colors. Ha ha, Yao Chen, it looks like this elderly elf is victorious this time around. Old Demon Hu looked at the thunderclouds. A moment later, he turned his head, looked at Yao Lao in the crowd, and coldly laughed. Yao Lao involuntarily frowned after hearing his words. He was just about to speak when a faint laugh appeared. That may not be the case. Old Demon Hu's face sunk after hearing these words. His eyes looked for the source of the voice. Xiao Yang, who had kept his eyes shut, slowly opened them at this moment. Part 1 ends here.